So chapter 43 of the Dragon Ball Super Manga has released, going full throttle into the Galactic Prisoner arc, thrusting Goku and Vegeta into the conflict between Moro, the new villain of the arc, and the Galactic Patrol. So in this chapter, we got some really cool stuff, some interesting ideas going on, mixed with some nonsensical things that don't quite add up, and I've got some interesting thoughts on those as well. But before we begin talking about it, I want to invite you guys to subscribe to the channel. I try to get these up as fast as possible with scans and editing, and also got some other fun videos on the channel that you can check out and just have some fun with. So let's begin. So we start the chapter off with Moro on this piece of floating stage, which I call it that because it reminded me of the Tournament of Power, and he's flinging comets down at these Kais down on this asteroid, which apparently is right next to this big planet, which I did not realize until a little bit after that the planet is not the same as the asteroid that the Kais are on, because we didn't have a very good establishing shot at the beginning of the chapter showing a good sense of the space or positioning of everyone. So Moro sucks the life energy and everything from this planet and uses this power by eating it against the Kais down on this asteroid. And I thought that made the planet into the asteroid until I actually looked through it again. Did anybody else feel like that? I felt like that was very awkward. But I've always liked the concept of a villain using that ability to kind of suck the life energy or matter of inanimate objects or what have you, and use that to increase their power and use that energy against the good guys. And it reminded me of the Spirit Bomb, kind of the antithesis of the Spirit Bomb, and like the other side of the coin, using that idea for evil purposes, I guess you could say. But of course, you have to have stupid dialogue from Muscle Kai explaining exactly what just happened after we clearly see what's happening. That's super annoying to me when there's somebody just saying something right after something happens, clear as day. And I think this whole scene would have been so much better if there was little to no dialogue at all. It would have been much more engaging that way. Like, the only dialogue that might be worth something is from Fat Kai when he's saying he's going to do that special technique, which is going to use a lot of his god power. Now, this raises a lot of questions to me. Like, what does that mean? Is that going to permanently reduce your power level? Is that going to shorten your lifespan? Apparently not, because, I mean, he lives another 5 million years. But then what does it mean when he says he's going to steal Moro's magic? Because obviously later in the chapter we learned that Moro has his magic back. So how does he get his magic back? Is this just temporarily stealing his magic power and he just accumulates it over time? Obviously it's enough to beat him or reduce his power enough so that the Galactic Patrol can put him away. But obviously this doesn't reduce his power enough to where the Galactic Patrol or anybody can kill him. This doesn't really make sense to me. How can you reduce his power enough to capture him and keep him captured in this cage or whatever? Like, what kind of place do they have him in to where he can't escape, but he's still too strong for you to kill him? Like, he's too weak to escape, but he's too strong for you to kill him. Man, I mean, so many questions. Including, since the Galactic Patrol sees how powerful this dude is 10 million years ago, have they not advanced their technology enough to even defeat Frieza? Because it seems like this guy should be more powerful than Frieza. Obviously, he's a super threat now. And like you think that they would create some technology or at least work on it enough to be able to stop someone like this in the future, 10 million years from now. And then the Galactic Patrol has no way to stop Frieza and his empire from taking over the galaxy and all the Saiyans invading all those planets. And then you got Merus. Has there never been a Galactic Patrolman as skilled or as powerful as Merus in the past? You know, it brings up a lot of questions when it comes to Frieza and his empire and stuff like that. But I have a theory about Merus in a minute, and I think you guys will find it very, very interesting. So after Merus' story, Vegeta notes that Buu is still asleep and they have no idea when he's gonna wake up. You know, they should be able to use the Dragon Balls here to wake him up. Even though they just used the Super Dragon Balls, they haven't used the Dragon Balls since Resurrection F in the manga, so they should be able to just use those to wake Boo up, you know, with how easily they can get them now. So then we get an entirely necessary 19 pages of Goku and Vegeta basically becoming temporary Galactic Patrolmen, and interestingly enough, Goku actually mentions Broly. First, he knows there are stronger dudes out there, and he's getting excited about meeting potentially stronger dudes out there in the universe and becoming a Galactic Patrolman, and Vegeta is showing his interest in Merus specifically because of the way he was able to sneak up behind him and Goku. But when this happens, we get a call about basically Solo a Star Wars Story train heist scene. And if you've seen that movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I felt like it was almost completely lifted completely from that movie and placed into this manga with the train and the blue gems or whatever that they use as a fuel source, even down to that. And they were super explosive. Wow, nice original content there. But I mean, it was okay. Like, I felt like this was a nice, like, first mission as Galactic Patrolman for Goku and Vegeta. Even though it didn't really have anything to do with anything, at least not yet, it did show a little bit more of Vegeta's suspicion or interest in Merus, and showing that Merus is super skilled again, because that was entirely necessary. But so it was kind of dumb and just used up a lot of pages, but it was still kind of fun at the same time. Even though overall it was pretty pointless, and it was pointless for Vegeta and Goku to even be there, because all they did was stand there and watch. So hopefully this fuel will come up a little bit later, otherwise this just felt completely pointless, other than to show more interest and or possible foreshadowing for Merus. Now, Merus theory time. I have a high suspicion that, you know, there's gonna be a double twist going on here. You know, at the beginning when he was taking Majin Buu, you think he's a bad guy. But then he's introduced as a Galactic Patrolman, and you're like, oh, he's actually a really good guy, and he's actually like the top ranking of the Galactic Patrol. But the next twist around again is gonna be that Merus actually helped Moro escape, and that is how Moro escaped and got his power back or whatever, in exchange for some of Moro's magic ability. Now, who knows how Moro got his magic ability to, that's, you know, one of the questions we had from earlier. So, however he got it back, he let Merus have some of that magical ability, and that's why Merus is so skilled and powerful and all that good stuff. So that is the suspicion that Merus and Moro are in league with each other. So finally, the coup de grace of the chapter is finally showing Moro full on, and with Goku trying to sense his ki and trying to sense his exact location, and Moro notices Goku in a really awesome shot. You got this silhouette of Goku's face and his surprised facial expression, and then you basically have Nosferatu Zod from Berserk. So overall, the chapter was okay. You know, it raises a lot of questions that they probably won't answer, and I'm really hoping for some elaboration and can't wait for the answers, because I'm assuming they're gonna answer how he escaped, and I'm pretty sure that Merus helped him escape. But, you know, it raised a lot of questions. The fight with the Supreme Kais were cool, but, you know, so many questions and a lot of just pointless feeling stuff. Mainly stemming from that train heist scene, which took up a huge chunk of the manga chapter. But, you know, if you're gonna rip something off, don't rip off a terrible movie like Solo, for God's sake. But it was fine, you know, it didn't bug me that much, you know. The whole chapter as a whole was fine. It delivered in piquing my interest for how, or the mystery of Moro, how he escaped, how his magic powers work, how he got his magic back. And I'm wondering if they're gonna elaborate on what effect that technique actually had on the Kai, because other than looking tired out, it didn't really seem to have an effect on him. Hopefully in the future they will actually be able to elaborate on that, or even if they're even gonna show him again. I mean, I'm assuming Boo's gonna wake up at some point and they're gonna like extract him or go inside Boo and have some sort of interaction with him at some point. But at some point, I mean, at this point, it's hard to tell. So, but, you know, the chapter was effective in garnering my interest for what's going to happen next, and that's about it. But obviously, what did you guys think of the chapter? Did you enjoy it more than other chapters, especially of the Tournament of Power? Because it's got to be better than that. That's such a low bar. But did you hate it? Let me know in the comments. Obviously, if you have anything to add, put it down in the comments. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and take it easy.